We're back, wonderful people. Jen's lagging a little bit today. She's starting to get tired. So this is going to be our last video for today. But I feel like we powered through a lot of information today.
We really have.
Necessary information. And excuse me, have to cough again. It's not as bad as it was yesterday. Yesterday was horrible. It was a horrible day for this stupid cough. Anyway, so this is going to be a little bit serious today because I'm annoyed. That our judicial system has failed us as women yet again, and confirmed this Judge Kavanaugh, as a Supreme Court justice. And that is terrible. That is just terrible, horrible news. And I'm confused. One of the things that always strikes me, like the 80 and 90-year-old men that are still sitting and voting, that they couldn't find another single Republican candidate that had at least not tried to sexually assault somebody. Let's just start there. Let me
backtrack for just a second. So I actually was in a debate last night regarding this exact subject.
Okay.
And it was an interesting conversation, and I am of the belief that if you listen to another point of view, you may learn something.
Mm-hmm.
You may not agree when it's over, but you've at least learned something.
Mm-hmm.
And the crux of the situation was that her credibility was the issue. And the problem is and I'm just going to jump right on in on this. I told you were going to do most of the talking, but I'm going to jump in on this anyway.
This is
because
a discussion.
This affects me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was raped.
Mm-hmm.
I was raped when I was 6. I was raped again when I was 14. The person who did it when I was 5 was my doctor. And I was telling my parents, I just don't know there's just something not right. I thought that he was doing what he was supposed to be doing. I didn't know different. And I kept saying that I don't want to see this doctor anymore. I don't want to see this doctor anymore. I don't want to see this doctor anymore. And it got to the point where my sister, if she got sick, I would purposely get sick, if you know what I mean, because I didn't want her to go by herself. One day I got busted. I was putting my thermometer up to the light bulb, trying to heat it up so that I could go to the doctor with her. My mom busted me heating up my thermometer. She wouldn't let me go with her to the doctors. I had to go to school that day. I got home and my sister was a mess. Mm-hmm. Now my sister has blocked this out, and I'm glad that she has, and I hope she doesn't actually see this video, because I don't want her to ever remember anything about this. She just said, Jennifer, there's something, I feel really weird, and I don't want to go back to that doctor again. And I said, Lacey, I will make sure that does not happen. And I threw such a fit about this doctor that we never went back. Mm-hmm. And then when I was 14, when it happened, my dad almost killed me. He busted the situation, and he came after me. I was 14, the guy was 20. But it was my fault, because I was doing, something that I shouldn't have been doing. So it was my fault. He almost killed me. He literally almost killed me. He was going to put me in a convent. He was going to kill me. He was going to make sure that that I was publicly shamed when he took me to the hospital, to have me checked out, because it was, I made this happen. And so there's a reason why women don't share these stories. Now,
absolutely,
this particular woman, this happened, 20 or 30 years ago? I can barely remember what I did 5 minutes ago, let alone 20 or 30 years ago. I can remember certain details about what happened when I was 6. It was either 5, 6, or 7. That's how much I remember. It was 5, 6, or 7. It might have been happening from 5 to 6 to 7, for all I remember. The other one I remember because it was my freshman year in high school. And so there's, for her to not be able to remember things, it makes it difficult for her to be a reliable witness. But at the same time, it's also a scary prospect that she didn't feel like she could come forth at that time. So I can see both sides of this story in vivid detail. But I'm also a victim, and I know what she's going through. And it's not like she would purposely choose to be belittled and to be harassed, and her family to be harassed, and for her to have to go into hiding because of the...
And for the President of the United States to make a joke at your expense. The thing of it is, if we don't, and this is this was actually my topic that I wanted to talk about this time, because as a woman, excuse me, as a woman, if we don't show up at the polls during the midterm elections, we don't want to wait till 2020 because the decision's already been made pretty much at that point. But if we don't show up and do our due diligence at the polls come this year in November, and we're all going to be wearing ruffles again. We're all going to, and I don't look good in ruffles belts. And chastity belts. And if you think it can't happen, watch. It's already happening. It's already, my thing is, it only takes the wave of a hand for these men to repeal our right to vote, period.
And it's already happening little bit by little bit by little
Chipping
bit
away.
with our rights as women to control our own bodies.
Exactly.
The being able to report a rape and being ridiculed by doing so is just the very, very tip of the iceberg. It's the things that that are being controlled by our reproductive systems and how they're being controlled, what we are allowed to do to
the fact
control.
that in order for you to, as a woman that doesn't have children already, is unmarried, do you know that you almost can't find a doctor that will tie your tubes? Like, let's say, for instance, you're 20 years old and you decide, I don't want children. Or you're 21. I don't want children. I know that I don't want children. They will not tie your tubes unless you get a note from your doctor and you have to have a certain socioeconomic status. You have to be, and the thing of it is, like, why would my husband have to have the say over that? Clearly, if I've said I don't want to have children, we've had that conversation, but it's my body.
I have to, so a lot of you know that I had my son when I was 16 years old. And when I was pregnant with him, I had a doctor who felt like, I was a POS because I was a 16-year-old mom.
Yeah.
And I fell down concrete steps while I was pregnant with my son. And his due date and my due date differed considerably. He told me when I had sex, even though he wasn't actually there, I was. So he insisted that he knew what my due date was, and I insisted that he was absolutely incorrect by a couple of months. When I fell down the steps, I called him. I said, I'm bleeding and my legs are purple and I'm having trouble walking. He told me, you're just trying to get out of school. Now, keep in mind, I was a straight A student and I was graduating school a year early. So it's not like I was, a miscreant.
Mm-hmm.
I just got pregnant when I was 16. Needless to say, when I did have my son, he was 10 pounds, 7.5 ounces, and he was ready for college. Because of the fall, the cord had wrapped around his neck, and we both ended up in the ICU for over a week because he was 6 weeks past due, and we were both very ill because of it. So with that, afterwards, I never stopped bleeding after I had my son, ever. And I begged my doctor to give me any kind of relief. He tried me on every kind of birth control to try to, control what was happening. But I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and I just kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. And I begged him, I said, can we just do a hysterectomy? And he said, well, no, You have to be 25 and have at least 3 children in order to have a hysterectomy. So when I was 25 years old, I asked again, can we please do a hysterectomy? And again, I was told no, I could not have a hysterectomy until I was 35 and had at least 3 children. So then I continued to bleed, and it finally took me finding a female doctor and me being 44 years old when I said, can we do something about this? They did an ablation and I was still bleeding. So they did a complete hysterectomy. I am now 46 years old. I just had it like 6 months ago. 46 years old. Still only have the 1 kid. 46 years I waited. Well, my son's 30 now. So 30 years I waited to have a hysterectomy because a male doctor said that I was not allowed to have a hysterectomy because I was not allowed. It was not my right to have that choice to not have children. Even though my body was rebelling and I was never going to be able to have children again because I was so sick and my son ripped everything out of me on his way out. They wanted me to suffer for 30 years because I was not allowed to have control of my own body.
And you know, it happens regularly because, like I said, we are not in control of our own faculties. We're not. You know, we're considered weak-minded. We're considered the weaker sex. But we all know that 9 times out of 10, we run the home. We raise the kids. We still work every day. Our work doesn't stop. And so when you look at what's happening here now, there's no way that there can be justice. I want to say that. So what my message to everybody is simply that
we need to speak up. They can't hear us.
Okay. My message to everyone is simply that we need to show them what women are capable of. And that we need to, sometimes you have to straighten your crown to show people what you're really made out of. And so I'm encouraging everybody, take a friend to the poll. But we've got to do something to protect our rights as women.
You can even register
even the rights that we have right now. You can register online. If you're not sure if you've had a change of address, if you have, moved recently, if you don't know what your status is, when's the last time you voted, if you didn't vote in the last election, whatever, go to the website for your area, for your state, and see if you're registered. You can do all of it online, but time is running out. And the thing of it is, we have to do our due diligence and actually go and take up the sword. Because, if you wait for other people to fight the battle for you, pretty soon there won't be anybody left to fight for us.
And we will be back. Have you seen that show? Where they're wearing the white hats, where the women have lost all rights because
I know what you're talking about. The Handmaid's
Tale.
Uh-huh.
I watched 25 minutes of that and I was so physically ill from watching it because I could actually see this dystopia happening.
It's like you're watching deja vu.
It is. It petrified me because it is way too close to being a reality, to people being able to control so much of everything, and you become we've worked so hard to get to where we are, and we have worked so hard to get to where we are with this freedom that we have, and I feel like in the last 2 years we have taken 100 years backwards for women.
Seriously.
100 years. We have gone back to the 20s.
And if you think that it can't, you're like, oh, certainly it won't go. Watch. When I say give him 2 more years in office, give his cronies 2 more years in office, and you'll see what all gets repealed. It won't be to our benefit. It'll be to our detriment. And, I like having the freedoms that I have. I like being able to speak freely about, have a show, talk about what we want to talk about. Do we want to live like they do in China? And that's what it's coming to, because
actually, did you know that they've repealed the law that women children are no longer considered trash? Do you know why?
Why?
Because all these boys have grown up and there's no women for
And
them
there's
to
no
marry.
wives. Isn't that funny? Nobody for them to marry. Yep. So we are a necessary commodity. But that's still, even, when you talk about the Chinese people, though, and what they're allowed to say, how tightly reined in their access is to the outside world. Is that how you want to live? I don't want to live like that. But best believe, that's because they have a dictator. And you think it can't happen. When people are complacent, that's what happens. Just saying. So I'm encouraging everybody, take a friend. If you're going to the polls, take a friend with you. Ask your friends, hey, have you checked your, to see if you're registered to vote, if you're registered where you currently live? Do you want to ride with me if we're going in the same direction? Whatever. But make sure that you get everybody involved, because we got to fight for our rights. And as women, we outnumber men. So, the thing of it is, if you want to play the weaker sex, like I said, you'll be in a ruffled shirt with some ruffled collars serving tea to somebody,
with a hat on your head.
With a hat. And I don't look good in hats. I look good in wigs, and I look good in headbands with unicorns. I don't look good in ruffles. Can you imagine me with this little ruffle thing up around here? I don't know.
I just want to know how I would survive without a tiara. I would not. I would die.
And these fabulous wigs. These fabulous wigs.
And hair pieces.
And hair pieces. What would we do without them? So, it's a little things that you got to appreciate. But also the fact that, I don't know, I like working for a living and being able to earn an income and being able to vote and being able to drive a car
and
deciding
being able who I get to have
and
sex
deciding where I go and what I do. And, I want to keep those things that we take for granted, because all of those things can go away in just a wave of a hand. So that was mine.
Quite frankly, it's not just women.
And this is not a fun conversation. I hate that we have to have this conversation. We always want to do something fun. We always want to make everything fun, because there's enough serious stuff on Facebook and enough Debbie Downer stuff that you're like, my God, I can't take it anymore. We need something upbeat. But we also need to have real conversations too, because our audience is women. And we want to make sure that our
flabulous women.
And we know that you flabulous women, we can make a change. We can make a change for the better, And we want to keep going. Like I said, we got to be able to take over the world. And I need for these people to get out of office in order for us to achieve world domination. So, there that is. So, what else you got?
Thank you, Mary.
Is that my cousin Mary?
Mary Lancaster?
Yes,
Mary. She says that what we are saying is awesome. And it's so true. Well, she said what we are saying is so true. Yes. I can't read the other ones. They're too small.
They're too small. So, but we love you all. And is there anything else that you want to tack on to this?
Well, I wanted to say that it's not just women who may potentially be losing their rights. It's the LGBT community. And
boy.
And, I watched my son, who's gay, work very hard to get married to his husband. And when he got married in Pennsylvania, and it wasn't legal here in Ohio yet. And all I could think of is, if he comes to Ohio, he's not legally married.
Mm-hmm.
He's legally married in Pennsylvania, but he's not in Ohio. And now, they're, personally, I don't care.
Do you know how you break down and you take power? You hit the weakest link first. So the people that have the fewest rights, which would be LGBTQ, women, people of color, but you start there and then you work your way up the pole. And
it's whittling at every single one of those. Every single one of those has been whittled at. And the people who follow him, they feel like they have been given carte blanche.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all of them, because there are some people out there that are they just needed something different. They desperately just wanted something different.
Mm-hmm.
But what's happening is very scary. I am petrified every morning when I get up in the morning. I'm petrified of what I'm going to read on Twitter. I'm petrified that we're going to be at war, and people think that he is. They literally think
because
that
he shoots from the hip.
That he's literally God's right hand man. And the only thing I'm going to say this. I'm just going to say it, and you guys can blast me if you want. But if you think he's God's right hand man, that means he's the Antichrist, and that means Armageddon is on its way. Pay attention.
Pay attention. And that's a true story. Pay attention. Because this man, like I said, if you think that you'll be excluded because you're white, you're male, you're not in the 1% though.
You're not a billionaire.
So how long do you think it's going to be before it starts to affect you? Before it starts to, and the thing of it is, we don't care about something until it directly affects us, until it comes into our house. Like it can actually affect our neighbor, friends, relatives, whatever, but until it's in our home, we don't care.
And that's the thing, is that every single thing that's happening is affecting me. Mm-hmm. I work for someone who is not from the United States. I work with people who are from other countries. Mm-hmm. My cousins are from Cambodia, mm-hmm. and they are black. Mm-hmm. My son is gay. I'm a woman. So literally everything that
is in our yard now.
Everything that's being done, every chip that's being pulled away from us, it literally directly affects me. It literally directly affects me. And so I'm hyper aware of everything that is happening. Mm-hmm. And I am petrified. I am petrified. I won't even go to, my circle of influence, my circle of friends, which is pretty broad and includes all of those things.
Yep.
And I'm scared for my friends. I'm scared for my family. Mm-hmm. I'm petrified. So I don't want to be scared anymore. And when this much of the population is scared, you got to stop. You got to take a step back, and you've got to say, okay, why? Why? So, why is this happening?
Exactly. And the thing of it is, you can't oppress people for too long before they fight back. And it's about that time. So, Lord willing, those people fight back at the polls. That's the first place to take up the battle, is actually at the polls, and try to get these people out of there, and get some people in there that are actually and keep in mind.
How about some compassionate Republicans?
And keep in mind here, yeah. I'm not even going to touch that, because when I say I don't understand how we're supposed to send our best and brightest for seats like the presidency, seats like, Supreme Court justice. These people are supposed to be, unreproachable. And we are the laughing stock of the world now. It is a joke to other countries that we are run the way we are, and it's really unfortunate. But like I said, we have the ability to make change and to affect change if we all get out here and do our due diligence. We can only do what we can do.
And you don't have to necessarily agree with us. Just be compassionate with your thought process, and realize that everything that you do right now from here forward affects someone.
Yep. It's all a trickle down. It's all, we're all linked together one way or another. And I don't understand why it's so hard to be a good person. Why it's so cumbersome to be decent and, kind. I don't get that. The compassion, I don't have to be starving to not want to see somebody else starving. I don't have to be in that situation to understand, hey, that's not right. Let me do something to help. I don't have to be beaten on, or I don't have to experience those things to know it's wrong. So I don't understand why that's such a difficult concept for others to grasp. And maybe it's in how you were raised. Is every man for himself, God for us all? I don't know. But don't call yourself a Christian then. Because a lot of people I hear calling themselves Christians, and there is nothing Christ-like about you. Nothing. If you, I seriously doubt that you
not lest you be judged.
Unless I'm not sure if you're just taking, if you're paraphrasing it, if you're just taking like you're doing like I'm doing, skimming. I skim a lot of stuff. You skim the Bible. You're like, yep, okay, got it. Okay, read the first chapter, and then I read, some couple of phrases from the middle, and then the end. All right, bam. Pew,
I
pew,
know
got
everything.
It.
I'm good.
That's not how you do things. I mean, there's a general, and it's not even about the Bible. It's about like any religion really has the basic tenets of Buddhism has it.
Be kind to one another.
The Muslim faith has it. Be kind to one another. That's it. It's
simple.
It's the kindergarten rule. You know what I mean? Treat people the way you want to be treated. If you want to be treated with kindness,
treat people better than you want to be treated.
There it is. That seems like such a simple concept.
Because most people don't understand that you have to love yourself in order to love other people.
Right.
That's the fundamental thing that's missing, is understanding that you have to love yourself, and that what you see in other people that you hate about them is the very thing that you see in yourself that you hate.
Mm-hmm.
So
like you might hate me because I'm fat, but it's really because you're missing snacks.
Yeah.
And because you would like to be able to eat snacks freely, without concern, without worry,
Or that we don't care. We're wearing a tiara and a unicorn.
Like, I hate them because they're always in wigs. What do you hate about wigs? What do you hate about wigs?
We are having fun.
Their fabulousness? Is that what it is?
And we have fun. And we love. We love life. We have fun, and we enjoy ourselves. And we get to dress up.
We get to dress up. Every time we do this, we get to dress in whatever we want to. It's like being a child again. It really is like, I don't discourage my grandchildren. Excuse me for touching this hair. I know that triggers some people. I quit touching the hair. But it's little wispies that are getting in my face. But, like my grandchildren, when they get their Halloween costume, when I say we wear it like it's a uniform, I let them go wherever they want to, for as long as they want to, because I want for them to be children as long as they possibly can, because you're an adult for a lot longer. And quite frankly, adulting, I'm checking it in, adulting has sucked so far. It has sucked donkey balls so far. The whole thing of paying bills and being, having to go to a job and be accountable. And I'm telling you, it was overrated. And I couldn't wait to get here. That's the thing. Like when you're a little kid, you're like, oh, I can't wait till I'm grown because then I get to do what I want. You don't get to do anything that you want. Anything that you want. Except now.
And then the government takes away your rights.
And then the government comes along and tells you, nope, ruffles for you. So...
You get nothing.
You get nothing. No soup for you.
Go home.
So,
you've been here for an hour.
Yes. So, that kind of segues into something else. Just a little something. Live your best life. I'm knocking at 50. She's 46. We're menopausal now.
47.
Are you 47?
I don't know. I'm either 46 or 47. I don't math anymore, so I'm one of those.
She stopped mathing a while ago.
Yeah.
But I'm getting ready to be 50. And, I am... It's when you drop off all your shits at the door. And you're like, I don't really care if people think that I'm crazy. I really don't care if people
I welcome it at this
judge me and say, you know what? Because I'm doing what I want to do. And I'm not hurting anybody. I'm enjoying life. I've always got a smile on my face. And this feeds our souls. Do something that feeds your soul. If you like to travel, if you like knitting, if you like holding babies, whatever it is that feeds your soul, do it. Because we're here that long. You know, you really got to do some stuff to get into Wikipedia. Let's just say that off the rip, that you got to do something. I know what I want to do for the next segment, just came to me. Or now. There's this guy.
Are we doing it now?
We're doing it now. We're just going, we're cannonballing.
We're just going to keep on going. This was a 20-minute one. That was supposed to be really short.
You're not
and it was supposed to be her talking, and I was just supposed to listen.
Because the hamster got on the wheel and ran away.
And yeah.
So this is my hero. You know who my hero is right now, right this moment? Sometimes. But right this moment, my hero is the guy that they now hire to run nude across various sporting events. He has run nude across probably 20, I think I looked it up. He made Wikipedia as Richard something or other. Somebody look him up and put him in the comments. But this guy, they actually paid him $1 million to run naked across, and I think it was like the soccer championships or something like that. I want to be paid to run naked. I want to be paid. What? That
for
dude,
$1 million?
That dude is living his best life.
You know what?
Not only do you get to be nude,
I would be fine with my boobs hitting my eyeballs as I was flying down the. I'd be going.
Let me tell you something.
I have my little rollator out there. Boobs hitting my eyes. I'm sorry.
They see him coming now. Now they've got his picture up where he's been banned from a couple of arenas or whatever, but he's managed to get past a few security breaches. Let's just say that. But this guy is, when I say he is living his highest level of life, he doesn't have to do anything else but periodically show up at a game, get under a breakaway jumpsuit, take off running. You know you're going to get $1,000 fine. Okay, so now you have what? 999,000, you know. Who cares? Who cares? So, my thing is this, but he managed to make it into Wikipedia.
We can be in Wikipedia.
We're going to be in Wikipedia. Not for doing something foul.
For being fabulous.
For being fabulous. Yep. So anyway, we love you guys. That was it. I didn't go off on a tangent. I'm just saying that there are people out here. The woman that made the news because she makes artwork out of moose poop. What in the hell have I done with my life? What have I done with my life? What? I don't understand. And she said, and I quote her, she'll ship that shit anywhere. That's her tagline. We'll ship that shit anywhere. She makes art, and it is not good art. And it's made out of poo.
It's not pretty at all.
It's not. It's not. But you know what? She's collecting turds from local moose, and she made the news. And I'm sure, a little push, she could make Wikipedia. I'm just saying. Because
probably already has.
Who else is making art out of moose poop? That is some original stuff. So, and you know what? Like I said, I applaud her. Slow clap. Clap it out for her. Because that's magical. That is some magical stuff right there. Anyway, that was my rant for today. I hope that you've enjoyed the time. This is a lot more serious, this conversation. Please get out and vote. Please, please, please get out and vote and help women take over the world and put us in our rightful place at the top of the food chain the way that we should be.
The ultimate supreme rulers have spoken.
Have spoken. That is all.
Okay, thank you. Stay fabulous.
Stay fabulous.
Love you.
Peace out.